And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be having a look at the Bank of England and the state of our economy. Now, as you're probably aware, everything that happens that's bad for us at the moment is all being blamed on the Russians, isn't it? Russia and Ukraine conflict, it's all because of that. It's got nothing to do with the fact that we've been printing money for the last 2 years. We've been sending weapons that we're going to have to replace, so that's going to be a future debt that we're going to have to pay as well. And we've also seen the cost of living going through the roof. Well, it seems it's getting worse. Now, you're probably aware, I have actually warned about inflation when they were printing money hand over fist during the lurgy pandemic, and I did say that it would probably create a recession. Well, it seems the Bank of England have now backed me on that, and their idea to fix it is only going to make matters worse, in my honest opinion. Interest rates raised to 1% by Bank of England, despite issuing warning of recession. Vindication, everyone. The bank takes a big red pen to its earlier forecast and sees a risk of economic contraction ahead, as inflation is now predicted to surge to levels not seen for 4 decades. Let that sink in. 4 decades. Now, there are a few graphs in here that will actually prove that it's got nothing to do with the Ukraine-Russia conflict. But I'll tell you, the sanctions that we're placing on them are hurting us a lot more, and it does seem to be proven by this. The Bank of England, but I will say this, the conflict is going to cost us big time in the future, with all of the weapons we've been sending and money we've been sending and all of the rest. That's going to have to come out of somewhere, and that's you, me and everybody else. The Bank of England has raised the base rate of interest to 1%, the 4th consecutive increase, as it continues to move against surging inflation despite issuing a warning about a recession ahead. So they're going to warn you that there's going to be a recession. It's going to be really difficult, and then they're going to make it even more difficult by increasing interest. How is that helping? Helps maybe the state milk more of your incomes. In the first forecast since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there we go, see, it was the Russians. The bank said it now expected the energy price crunch to leave a lasting scar, pushing up unemployment and contributing to weak or negative growth throughout 2023. Despite this, the bank's Monetary Policy Committee also voted to increase interest rates by a 0.25 percentage point to 1%, the highest level of borrowing costs since 2009. The bank said most members of the committee judged that some degree of further tightening in monetary policy might still be appropriate in the coming months, so things are going to get a lot tougher. The bank's forecast underlines the challenges facing households, with higher energy costs, even though they're all earning a fortune when it comes to profits, higher taxes, same again, profits, and higher interest rates, same again, profits. Have we noticed the trend for all of the fixes seem to be milk the poorest for the richest? Just a thought, likely to depress household spending dramatically as the year goes on. The bank slashed its forecast for gross domestic product, GDP, completely bogus measuring system, growth next year from 1.25 to minus 0.25, closest it ever tends to come to forecasting a recession. So we are on the knife edge of recession, so it's not going to be pretty for anyone, everyone. It said that the unemployment would also begin to climb, with the rate rising to 5.5% in the middle of 2025. Well, that's probably because we're shipping in a load of people that can't work as well, but we'll keep quiet about that one. Now, here's the first graph. Bank of England raises interest rates to a 13-year high. See the shot? Now look when the dates are. January. When did the Russia-Ukraine conflict start, everyone? Wasn't January, was it? But perhaps most striking of all is forecasts is that inflation, as measured by the Consumer Price Index, would rise to 10.25% towards the end of this year. 10.25%. Shocking, isn't it? Nearly double its previous forecast of 5.75%. So things are going to get really tough. So now is the time to start prepping. Buy some dry goods, everyone. Things are going to get expensive. Andrew Bailey, the bank's governor, said, but the fact of the matter is we're being struck by historically large shocks. I mean, let's face it, who of us thought there would be a war in Europe of the sort that we're seeing? It's terrible. That's deflection, in my honest opinion. Seems to be that most of the problems like this happened in January. There you go, all the way through to January. So this has got nothing to do with Russia, but they'll throw it in there anyway to try and distract you from what it actually is, and that's probably the fact that we've been printing money hand over fist for 2+ years. He said the predicted slowdown in economic growth mainly affects the significant negative impact of sharp price rises on most UK households' real incomes. He also said, we think most of the work to bring inflation down will be done by, unfortunately, the severity and scale of this shock to real incomes, which I'm afraid to say has gotten worse in the last 3 months since we last produced a report, because obviously the impact of the terrible events in the Ukraine. I refer again to the graph that started this problem with inflation in May 2021. That's when it started happening, and look at it ever since. So it's got nothing to do with the terrible events in the Ukraine. That's going to just exacerbate it even more, in my honest opinion. Going to make it worse. So I thought we'd have a look, everyone, at how well the ruble's doing considering we've got these sanctions, because I did say that it's only going to make matters worse. Well, it seems it's already started. Just as an example, currently the ruble stands against the US dollar at 66 rubles to the dollar, which is actually a increase by 6.05%. This was on the year starting at minus 10.6%. Now they're on plus 6.05%. And that's not all. The euro against the ruble's increased in value there. GBP increased in value. You see what I mean? So the sanctions are only hurting us, not Russia, obviously. If their value is going up and ours is going down, tells you everything, doesn't it? Stop this theatre immediately, in my honest opinion. We all are seeing through this now. It's a money grab. It's a grab of our money to be distributed between them and the cronies. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, though. In a news conference, he said total real household disposable income is projected to fall by 1.75% in 2022. Not massive for the high earners, but for people like you, that's massive. That's the difference between food on the table or not. Am I wrong on that? Absolutely shocking that they're going to tell you that we're going into a recession and then put the interest rates up by 0.25%. Who are you looking after? Yeah, it definitely isn't us as everyone, is it? If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share it out, stay sane, see you on the next one.